Hello, I'm making this video to talk about the recent events in Israel, the atrocities committed by the Palestinians when they breached the border and went in and went door to door slaughtering innocent civilians. I've been a student of Middle East politics, Middle East religion, Islamic jihad for a very long time. I don't even know how I got into it, but what really solidified my love for Israel was when I became a born-again Christian and I started reading the scripture, and it sort of backed up this innate love that I had for Israel. Maybe I didn't understand it so much when I was younger, but as I got older, I was glad that I felt that way because they have been persecuted for several thousand years. God gave them that land. They are the chosen people, yada, yada, yada. So, like everybody else, I was just stunned at the atrocities that were committed. Everybody's saying, oh, it's Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. But you got to remember, this is the government of Gaza. Hamas is the government. They were elected by the people. And the people were cheering when this happened. All around the world, they were cheering until the retaliation started. And then they started phase two to play the victimhood game. But this time, yeah, it's not going to fly. And people are exposing themselves for what they really are all over the world, including right here in Manchester, New Hampshire, where I am, where I went to a rally and confronted a bunch of socialists who were out there celebrating what the Palestinians did to the Jews. And they hide behind this fake apartheid claim, which, if anybody knows what apartheid really was, you couldn't even with a straight face apply that to Israel. In fact, let me play you a clip real quick from what these people were actually saying downtown Manchester. They were actually calling for jihad against the Jews from the river to the sea. Palestine, it will be free. That's the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. They want no Jews. These white, liberal, Democrat socialists, that's what they were chanting in New Hampshire. So I'm going to run down a list of some of the atrocities. It's super gross. I hate to do it, but a lot of people haven't been following it as closely as I have. I get a lot of information straight from Israel, straight from the IDF, straight from the people who were interviewed, who were in the kibbutzes. A lot of this stuff is on Twitter. I'm sure the rest of the social media is filtering it out. I'm not even bothering looking on any other social media. Just I like to go direct to the source and kind of just make my own decision as based on, like, for example, I've been listening to eyewitness accounts of medical people who have gone in, and these guys are trying not to tear up as they describe what they saw. For example, one guy said that he saw a family, a husband, a wife, and two children, a son and a daughter, and they had just sat down to eat supper because their food was on the table. And they had their hands tied behind their back. They were found on their knees with their heads. You know what? Time out. I just spliced this video right now. I'm not going to describe this event. I went back and I found the video of the eyewitness who went in, this medic who went in as part of the body recovery team, and I will let him describe what he saw when he went into this house.
We went in. The first house we saw was a couple, father and mother, sitting there on the knees on the floor. They were on the knees. Now they were head down, hands tied to the back. On the other side of the dining room was a 7-year-old boy and a girl, I would say about 6 years old, sitting just against the parents, hands tied to the back, same position. The bodies were tortured. While now, start to use your imagination. Who was tortured before? Who saw if this was on purpose, if this was the children looking at the parents being tortured, the parents seeing, and when I say tortured, I will say missing body pieces. An eye, just taken out an eye, one eye, fingers being, and all this happened, and by the end, they all had a bullet, and still not finished. In the middle, there's a table. Those tables were sitting and eating the Saturday meal that was prepared for this family. They just took it and they ate this meal while torturing these children.
I'm sorry you had to hear that. These people that went in and did this, they're in human flesh, but they're demons. That's what they are. They're demons. And I heard they used one guy's jigsaw when they chopped him to pieces. Imagine your own jigsaw. You having body parts lopped off while you're watching your children get tortured, while they're sitting there eating your Shabbat meal, laughing, while you're wondering, where are the police? Where's the IDF? It's unfathomable. And this next story is just as bad, just as horrific. I had described it, and then I went back and I found the original eyewitness video, so I cut my description out, and I'm going to let you hear the next eyewitness.
And I see a woman on the stomach. I decide we have to turn her around because that's the way we have to put it around, heads up. We have to put it into the body bag. And, you know, I'm not prepared what I'm going to see. We saw blood. See a gunshot wound in the back of the head. But when we turn over and we see the stomach is open and a baby attached with a cord to the mother and stabbed with a knife, and the mother is shot, and just trying to think what happened first. Was the mother shot first or was the baby stabbed first?
So I'm wondering, was that done while she was alive? And these people were found to be on this drug. Hold on. I don't know if I'm going to say it right. I never heard of this drug before. Captagon, Captagon, which is an amphetamine. So a lot of the terrorists who were killed inside Israel were found with a bunch of these pills in their pocket. So they were tweaking out. A bunch of tweakers going in, all drugged out, just like what they do in Africa. Nigerians have killed 50,000 Christians in the last, I don't know how many years. 50,000. It's complete genocide, and the world is silent. But they're all drugged out. And so that's just a method of operation. And this is like I said, this is not Hamas. This is Islam. And the world media is hiding behind the word Hamas. It's not the Palestinian people. Look, remember the Mumbai terror attack when it was a Lashkar-e-Toiba, a terror group out of Pakistan, went in and they went to the, I forget the name of the hotel, and then a couple of them went to a Shabbat, not a Shabbat, a shul, it's a shul or a synagogue, or Chabad, I'm not exactly sure, but it was a Jewish center, and they had a rabbi and his wife there. So some people went to Taj Mahal Hotel. So a bunch of terrorists went to the Taj Mahal Hotel. I think, well, I hope I'm correct. We're just randomly shooting everybody. And some of the other terrorists went to the that's a Freudian slip. Oh my gosh. Some of the other terrorists went to the synagogue and they killed the rabbi and his wife. They literally tortured them and cut off his genitals. So I'm wondering if some of the body parts in Israel they weren't doing the same thing, because it would not surprise me, because that's the MO. These are demon-possessed people. How else can you explain how they beheaded 40 babies? They went door to door massacring people. I mean, I predicted that this was going to happen in America years from now. A few years ago, I predicted this. This is what's going to happen. The communists, the socialists, the BLM, the Antifa type people, they're all going to go door to door, and they're going to target white people, Christians, conservatives. They're going to steal their property. It's what they did in China. So that's what they were doing here. They were going door to door. They were raping the wives in front of the husbands, and then, you know, torturing everybody and laughing about it. They went to a rave concert. I'm sure you know about that, an outdoor rave concert. I don't know how many people, 1,000 people, maybe 200, I think 280 were killed. Here's a short clip of the people running from that concert. Actually, they were running from the Palestinians. I watched an interview of one guy. He fled. Everybody was jumping in their cars, running, you know, out into the woods. And this guy hid in some bushes, him and another girl, for 8 hours. And they listened. He actually turned his phone on and was recording. The camera was faced on him, and in the background you can hear the gunshots. And he said they were laughing. As they were killing everybody, they were laughing. These are demon-possessed people. And of course, when I went to that rally downtown Manchester, and there's some socialist organization, they were flying all their Palestinian flags. They had been interviewed, and a reporter talked to them, and the reporter came over to me, and the reporter says they were denying that all these beheadings were happening.
I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children.
It's like they're rabbiting whatever Hamas says. They lie. It's in the Quran. They are allowed to lie in the pursuit of their jihad. And then, of course, we know about this so-called attack on a hospital. You know, they blamed on the Jews. I mean, even after America proved that it was a Hamas rocket that fell short and landed next to the hospital, the New York Times still led with the headline the next day that the attack on the hospital was in dispute. Yeah, because Hamas is disputing it. New York Times probably caused more people to die by more people being infuriated with these types of headlines. The Sky News did the same thing. It's still disputed. It was indisputable what happened. Israeli intelligence showed. Did they show the video? I can't remember what. I know one of the pieces of evidence I listened to was an audio call between two different Hamas members talking about this, and they're like, "Yeah, we did it." And like, how did this happen? Oh, we did it. You know, it's a misfire. Yada yada yada. But anyhow, they said 500 people were killed. The reality is the rocket never even hit the hospital. It landed next to the hospital, damaged a bunch of cars, and I heard one report said that maybe between 10 and 50 people were killed. But you got Western media carrying out phase 2 of this jihad. Phase 1 is you attack the Jews. You slaughter as many people as you can, and then phase 2 you play the victim card, and you let the media carry your water. And that's what these people, these socialists in downtown Manchester were doing. That's what they're doing in New York, Paris, London, Australia. They were in Australia. The Palestinians all got together and they were chanting "Gas the Jews." So, what did this current administration, crazy moonbat administration, do? They rewarded the Palestinians by giving them $100 million. Blinken went over just as Israel was about to begin the ground invasion. They had all the troops up on the border. They called up 300,000 reservists, because something like this, that's it. You're done. There's no more living side by side with these type of demons. So, but Blinken's like, nope. I got to come over there. He sat in their war room with the generals for 7 hours, and he was pounding the table. We need humanitarian aid. You can't do anything until you send in humanitarian aid. And Israel's like, wait a second. We buy weapons from you. Yeah, you give us money, but as stipulation is that we spend it back in America. So Israel buys weapons from us, and under the condition that if a war breaks out, America will resupply Israel. But America, under Biden, broke that agreement, went there, sat in the war room, and said, you're not getting the bunker busters you need to go deep down and get where their weapons cache is, all underground, until you do the humanitarian aid. Israel has searched the United Nations humanitarian convoys vehicles, and they open a bag of rice, and what's in the bag of rice? Bullets. You don't believe me? Take a look at the video. So everybody knows Iran planned this whole thing. He helped plan it. They back, the Hezbollah and Hamas and who knows how many other radical organizations. But the money that Biden unfroze was actually Iranian money that they had frozen. That money, I can almost guarantee, was not used in part of this attack. The money that was used in part of this attack probably was from oil. So now they're in 2 years they're 10 times richer than what they were when Trump left office. But America and the EU are giving them billions and billions and billions, and they know it's a whole terror. It's a terror organization, and they're funding terrorists with our tax dollars. And now we have open borders. They just put out a warning across the globe for everybody to keep your head on the swivel. Americans, keep your head on the swivel. But the southern border is wide open. And you got all these people coming across the border. Hezbollah members from South America speak perfect Spanish. The Border Patrol isn't going to know that they're Hezbollah. And they're coming right in. They said, oh, Trump praised Hezbollah. He didn't praise Hezbollah. He was just saying that they're an extremely smart organization, because they are the best organized terror organization in the globe, the best network in the globe, all backed by Iran, which the Democrats seem to love to let them have any opportunity they want to get their nuclear weapons and lifting sanctions, even though they're the biggest sponsor of terrorism in the world. So let's see how a lot of people around the world reacted to this murderous, savage invasion of Israel and all the atrocities. Instead of being ashamed, if you want to support the Palestinians, okay, that's your cup of tea. But you can't be ashamed by what they did. And then when Israel retaliates, you're like, oy vey. No, they don't speak Yiddish, do they? Anyhow, let's take a look at how the world reacted. The first clip is of what is no doubt a left-wing crazy activist in Massachusetts tearing down posters from telephone poles of kidnapped Jewish children.
Why is she taking the pictures off? Does she work for management office? No. Do you know this person?
Is she doing it all?
Yeah. That is so sad. That is so sad.
Next up, we have Sarah Chowdhury, if I'm saying that correctly. She's the president of the South Asian Bar Association in Chicago. And here is an image of her being sworn in. And here is an image of her social media. And here is what she says on her social media. Somebody is clearly baiting her, and she replies that vermin should have all been killed decades ago. And then she makes another post. All you Zionists will pay. That sounds like a threat. And the guy responds, or the person responds, talk dirty to me. Like he's literally baiting her to basically get herself fired. And so she says, hopefully someone sends you anthrax or poison and you die a slow, terrible death. And then she sends that message, and then she sends another message, praying to God for it actually. So she's on her knees praying to God for a Jew to be poisoned to death. In her next post, she just says effing Jew, but she spells the whole thing out. So the guy goes, I get it. You want to, F this Jew? Sorry, sweetheart. You're not my type. This guy's getting under her skin. And so she replies 3 more posts in a row. I'd rather put you in a gas chamber. Bet you'd like that. And she got no response. So then she goes, with all your Zionist ancestors. She got no response, so she posts again. Hitler should have eradicated all of you. This is the kind of logic you get from law school in America now? The next video is really weird, man. This guy works for the post office, and he's just at work in Brooklyn, where there's a bunch of Jews, and he's just walking around filming Jews like he's trying to intimidate them. Like, you know, he's waiting for his bloodthirsty moment to be able to, you know, to come out, and when it's okay to shank a Jew. I'm sorry to laugh, but I mean, this world is just going insane. Check this out.
This one too. Yeah, this one too. Look, right? You think it's Palestine? It's not Palestine. It's Palestine. Get out of here. Yep. In your face. Bozo. Bozo. Bozo.
I want to know if tomorrow you're going to have a job or not.
Maybe at some point I'll follow up that story to see whatever happened to that guy. Now, there are some people that if they're on the opposite side of an issue than you know you're on the right side. This next picture I'm just going to show you is somebody who you're going to say, yeah, if she's for Gaza, she's definitely on the wrong side of moral history. The, what do you call her? The environmental cuckoo girl, that girl Greta Thunberg, whatever her name is. Here's a picture of her with some of her lemming friends. Anybody with half a brain knows that BLM has a long history of anti-Semitism, which I don't really understand why Jonathan Greenblatt and the ADL has spent all this last couple of years focusing on woke ideology, basically working as an arm of the DNC, instead of focusing on the left-wing anti-Semitism within his own party. But here's an activist girl with some activist bag, I forget, something about animal cruelty or something, but she's a BLM girl tearing down posters of missing Jewish children because she doesn't care about Jewish children because, you know, BLM, you know, they're anti-Semite, left-wingers.
What?
That's fine by me.
Put on Facebook, all over Facebook. All over Facebook.
We all supported BLM, but, you know, it's nice to know that what comes around goes around.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious, isn't it?
I already got you, so that's fine.
I literally could make a whole video just on the Jew hatred within the BLM. Actually, even the whole, you know, not the whole, but a large portion of the black community, which I don't even understand. And I've got other areas of interest than that. It's just a rabbit hole there I'm not going down. So college campuses have long been a hotbed of Jew hatred. The professors are all, you know, in the Middle East studies, they're the worst. Humanities, the worst. And so I must start in high school or middle school, or even must be TikTok or social media. I have no idea where this is all coming from. But this, excuse me, this next clip is from UCSB of a bunch of people tearing down more posters of missing Jewish children. Next up, we have Gemma DeCristo, assistant professor of American Studies at UC Davis. Let's just stick with California, the left coast. This is really freaky. This lady is literally threatening to kill Jews and telling Jews, I know where your children live. And she's posting emojis like a knife, an axe, and a bunch of blood. This is what they want. This is what they want. They want door-to-door eradication of people that don't think like them. And it's coming. It's definitely coming. It's going to get worse. Everybody's talking about the end times. That's the end times. Bro, it's going to get way worse. Way worse than it is now. Sad to say. But let's check out her social media. So this is what Gemma says on her social media. One group of people we have easy access to in the United States is all these Zionist journalists who spread propaganda and misinformation. They have houses with addresses, kids in school, They can fear their bosses, but they should fear us more. Knife emoji, axe emoji, blood emoji, blood emoji, blood emoji. 1 repost and 7 likes. Psycho. Oh, I forgot to mention, I found out about Gemma on Twitter. Excuse me, X. And so, and then I started later on, a few days later, preparing for this study. And I said, you know what, I want to use that story in this video. And I went back and I found it. I archived it. My buddy posted it. Jason Bedrick. He used to live in New Hampshire and then he moved, but he's still very active in a lot of different organizations since he moved. And he's a very proud Jewish guy. And so I'm pretty psyched. In fact, I got to go follow him. But way to go, Jason. We got you. I appreciate you sticking up, man. I appreciate you, brother. Well, you want to go to the other left coast? I don't know, Harvard University? It's on the East Coast, but it's just as left as California. Well, you probably obviously already know about the 30 student organizations who signed letters demonizing Israel and how the backlash that they got from that. Some of them Wall Street companies want their names because they don't want to hire them. One far left-wing organization, the Wexler Group, I think it was, stopped funding. They said that we're not going to send any more students there, which they send people to Harvard, and then they go on and work for the Israeli government and work to undermine the government. So, I'm not shedding any tears for either one of those parties. But here's a clip of them all laying on the ground pretending to be dead Palestinians. I don't know. I mean, they didn't care when Jews were being, burned alive. They're probably celebrating, and now they're just. It's like Harvard. I mean, just to get into Harvard, you should be thanking your lucky stars, and you just ruin your life and reputation forever by just acting this way. Yeah, that video was kind of lame. I get it. But this next one, I mean, just every time I say, oh, it can't get any worse, we go to Baruch University in New York City. What these people have been doing, not at Baruch, but certain organizations have been driving around with vans. And on the vans, they have these billboards that keep scrolling. And they'll show faces of the missing children, or they went to Harvard and they were scrolling the names of the people that had signed this letter demonizing Israel, and everybody was freaking out. So they're basically they're poking the bear. They're just parking in front of colleges and just seeing what kind of reaction they get, and they're videotaping the people. And so you're not going to believe what you're about to see. I guess these 2 girls are Muslim girls, and they see the van parked out by their school, and it's showing the images and the scrolling of all these children that have been kidnapped and are being held hostage in Gaza. And instead of the girls having pity on the children, they start videotaping or taking pictures of and laughing at the pictures of the dead children, while another girl's putting her middle finger for the camera. So all you see is this middle finger, like she's flipping off the dead babies. You have to see it to believe it. You want to see why they get that way by the time they're in college? Look at this high school in San Francisco. Yeah, what if those girls need to go to a doctor, right? They probably would like Dr. Aisha Khan, Vanderbilt University. Check this girl out. This doctor, who's a clinical fellow, microbiology, Department of Pathology, and immunology, describes herself on Twitter as woke scientist. She's got her blue check mark, and she's got the image of the Palestinian terrorists coming in on the paragliders as they came in to kill, rape, pillage, and burn. little children, families who are sitting down having their Shabbat, total monsters. And she's promoting the paragliders coming in like there's some type of freedom fighting heroes with under the tag from the river to the sea. And she's got the images of Palestinian flags. So if these crazy students are looking for a doctor, I'm sure this one's right up their alley. This next girl, Ailila Taylor, was walking her dog in Miami, and she saw all these posters of the kidnapped Jewish children that are being held hostage in Gaza. So she decided that she was just going to tear them down. It's just a trend these days, you know. And so the people that put them up started videotaping her like, what are you doing? And she's like, I've got degrees. I can do whatever I want to do. Yeah, she's got a law degree from CU Boulder, Colorado University, I assume, on human rights. She's a human rights lawyer. I mean, are they just making this stuff up by now? So she's got something going on. I just can't figure out. So let's, I gotta go pick up my wife. Here, watch this video. I'll be right back.
Everybody in Miami, this lady support terror. She's going one by one, and she take them off. Rip another one off. Come on.
Here, she's gonna take
Rip
it off
another
right
one
now.
off.
Look how she's doing it. 50 years old person.
Baby's been murdered. This lady every time.
You are misinformed.
You are misinformed.
You are misinformed.
Yes, so
I have
inform me.
degrees.
Inform me.
No.
Can you inform me?
Please inform us.
So go support Hamas.
Of course I don't.
Go
support
join them.
Hamas.
So that's what
That
you're
is a
doing. You're
terrorist
supporting
organization.
people being
I'm
kidnapped.
supporting
Did you even read?
This
This is civilians. Did you even read before you take it off here? Read before you take this one off here. Another one here. Here, you missed one.
You want to get it there?
Take it off.
Yeah. Fuck
No,
it.
I actually the one that put them. Take it off. This is babies being murdered. You supporting this?
Of course I'm not.
With your degree? That's what your degree teaching you?
She has
See,
2
this is the
degrees
problem.
supporting kids being kidnapped.
What's the problem?
With
Tell
other
me.
people.
Let's speak. What's the problem? Tell me. That I want the world to be aware that people get kidnapped? Huh? That's a problem?
You think you can shame me by supporting civilians that are being murdered
not-
over
you're not
decades?
supporting
I'm gonna show
civilians.
your opinion
I'm
too.
supporting civilians. You can
We're all
tell me
support
what you
we
think
support
I'm supporting,
civilians.
and I
We
can say I don't give a
support
fuck what you think
civilians.
I'm
Oh,
supporting.
We
we
support
see, 'cause
civilians, but that's why you put it on. Because we support civilians. Because those people are civilians. My ex-girlfriend was a civilian that she got shot in her head. That's what you support. You understand? By doing this,
She doesn't
that's
care.
what you support.
Your ex was Jewish, so she doesn't care.
Yeah,
Doesn't
she
count.
also probably
Of
support the
course
slaughter
I
of all the
support
Jewish people last
people.
Friday. That's
It's
what
not
you do.
anti-Semitic.
So
This
did
is
you
not
read? So hold on.
anti-Semitic.
Did,
You
hold
only
on.
condemn when Palestinian kids are being kidnapped.
No,
you only
because you're not listening. You
No,
just
no,
been
no, no,
yelling
no,
at
no,
me
no,
all
no,
You
no,
day.
don't. You don't even read what you're taking off.
Yelling.
This is what you're doing.
You're
You
not
don't
listening
read
to
when you're
me.
what
taking
you're
off.
doing.
Here, I'll
This
listen
is-
to you. Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Put the phone down. We'll have a
No, I
conversation.
want the whole world to listen to you. Same as I'm gonna put it on.
Okay.
Oh, so you don't have what to say.
No,
With your
I don't
degree,
think so.
what university you go to? They should be ashamed too.
Yeah, what a shame. She can't even back up why she was ripping those posters down. She's got a law degree on human rights, like those children didn't have human rights. But they're Jewish. And Jews murder Palestinians. That's what she was saying for decades, for decades. So one of the most disturbing things for me was the day of and the day after this attack, the people that were out celebrating. They were celebrating. Here's one of the celebrations up in Canada. Yeah, it's disgusting. They're literally celebrating the murder of the Jewish families that were just sitting at home. You know, they're not military. This is not a war. This is just an attempt at genocide. So what if there was a camera inside one of these families' houses that already had somebody murdered in their family, and then they were in another room and they were videotaping, or they had a camera set up? Because that's what I'm about to show you right now. Of a family traumatized with 2 kids in the room, just traumatized. One of their sister was murdered. And this is, think about those guys celebrating as you watch this video.
Relax. No, Lord. His sister. My sister died. Relax. Lift to God. What? Thank you.
I don't know if it's just as shocking as the attack, the reaction of the Palestinians around the world after they saw the images, joyfully cheering.
Since the morning, we've been seeing Palestinians celebrating in the streets and also posting on social media, calling this day as historic. So why are they celebrating? Basically, Palestinians feel that this is the first time that they're dictating the rules of the game. They feel that they're proud that Hamas has launched a surprise attack inside Israel. Basically, we've been talking to gunmen here in the occupied West Bank. Let's not forget that the Palestinians in general are not armed, but some of them have been grouping and attacking Israeli targets. And those gunmen were saying, even if Israel has the upper hand, has more military, but at least we are doing what we can to fight back. So today kind of served as a reinforcement to Palestinians' beliefs and thoughts that they can help themselves and they can deter Israel from its measures in the occupied West Bank and in the besieged Gaza Strip.
How about, why don't you be ashamed? Here's a video, I don't even know where this was shot, but the Palestinians are on one side, you know, laughing, holding the pictures of the dead Jews, showing it to the people, laughing and flipping them off.
That's your boy! That's your boy! That's your boy! That's your boy!
And how does our government react to this? Let's just give them another $100 million. Let's just bring in a whole bunch more. Let's just have open borders. Let's just have their own people be in charge of our own immigration department, which is basically what they're doing. They just hired some girl named Najwa Ali, Department of Homeland Security officer. She's a pro-Hamas. She was a PLO spokeswoman. And she's going to handle asylum claims. She posted the paragliders flying in with weapons, like they're martyrs. And she's like, free Palestine. From what? You want all the? She wants all the Jews liquidated, and now she's going to be in charge of who gets to come into this country? What is wrong with America? I shouldn't say what's wrong with America. It's what's wrong with the Democrats, honestly. I mean, you think Trump would be doing... You think Trump would be like, hey, here's another $100 million? You think Trump would be flying over there, disrupting the ground invasion by acting as a Hamas human shield like what Biden did? Israel didn't invite Biden over. Biden demanded to be invited over. I'm going to show back-to-back clips real time. Just blow through these next two. One is New York City. Palestinians doing burnouts on the highway. Yay! Celebrating, you know, their murder of innocent civilians. And the Palestinians taking over some historical places in Paris, France. This next one, I believe, was shot in Brooklyn, New York. Definitely New York. Very disturbing. Thousands of Muslims gathered together, and this fiery, I don't know if he was an imam, talking about how Islam's going to be in every home in America. In every home. How's that for a dog whistle?
This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be a part of, Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the Ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah! La ilaha illallah! Muhammadan Rasulullah!
He went on and on and on. I'm sorry, I couldn't listen anymore. This next one, as equally disturbing. We're going to go down the coast a little bit to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly hate. And you're going to see why in this next clip.
Give an applaud right now to Hamas for a job well done. When they woke up in the morning and they found the field hands in the house with a knife ready to cut their fucking throats. I was late to the news, but when I heard it, I smiled. I don't want to hear that bullshit. 250 innocent Israelis are dead. Fuck them! Again, I swear, I salute Hamas. A job well done.
They want to paint it here in America and in the West that what happened yesterday was terrorism. What happened yesterday was freedom fighters fighting for freedom. And I want to make one point. Every person that died yesterday was not innocent. It's our job. It's our job here in the West to wake people up. It's our job to show people who the real terrorists. It's our job.
That guy is certifiable, that's for sure. How people like that are walking the streets in this country by the hundreds of thousands is beyond me. And if you think this is just contained to Gaza, where over 50% of the people have Egyptian lineage, by the way, Palestinians. In the PA territories, one pizza owner decided to use the image of she was a kidnapped or murdered Holocaust survivor as an advertisement to try to sell more pizza. So Israel had a little payback for him. Don't worry, pizza guy. Joe Biden's gonna come to your rescue. He's gonna bail you out. Just don't forget, 10% kickback to the big guy, okay? I mean, if you're gonna embezzle funds, do it right. Okay, Uncle Joe? So yeah, kidnapping old ladies and using little kids as shields. انظروا الرحمة في قلوبنا فهم الأطفال لم نقتلهم كما تفعلون. Yeah, let's just kidnap a bunch of Jewish babies and bring them back to Gaza so you can use as a shield in case you have to fight a real man on the way back. And you ever wonder, like, how did they get this way? You don't just become, like, radicalized that hardcore late in life. It starts, at least where these guys grow up, in the United Nations funded schools, UNRWA, UNRWA. There's 30,000 UN employees in Gaza. Only 300 of them are foreigners. And so in those schools, they are radicalized to hate Jews. So I'm going to show you a clip. I don't know if this is the exact clip I showed 20 years ago on my TV show, but I used to show clips before 9/11, so it was longer than 20 years ago. Pre 9/11, I was showing videotapes of Friday night sermons that were translated into English and what they were actually saying. And when 9/11 happened, people asked me like, "How did you know?" I'm like, I didn't know that was going to happen, but I listened to what they say in Arabic, and so I've seen interviews of their children before and how they want to slaughter Jews. So let me just give you a little sample of that, paid for with your tax dollars, by the way.
انه نعمل حرب انه نفرج اليهود انه احنا مش انه احنا مش شاطرين، احنا قوايا كمان. في ناس بحبوا فلسطين بدهم يحاربوا وبضحوا بدمهم عشان فلسطين. انا بدي اهزمهم بالحرب، بدي اهزمهم.
بيعلمونا انه الاقصى النا والنا يعني الحق، يعني النا فلسطين والاراضي كلها النا، لانهم بسبب كذبهم وانتهاكاتهم انهم يقولون انه الهيكل تحت المسجد الاقصى، ولا مره انه يكون الهيكل تحت المسجد الاقصى.
انا بقرا اليهود
بعلمونا ان الصهيونيه هم اعدائنا، وهم اهم شيء لازم يسوي فيهم عمليه.
يعني انهم بيعلمونا بالمدرسه انهم ارهابيين
بيحكوا لنا عن اليهود انهم هدول مش مناح وهدول بقتلوا قاعدين بشبابنا. بيحكوا لنا هدول غدارين، وبيحكوا لنا انه هدول بغدرونا، هدول مش مناح. اذا بطعن بدعس عليهم، اعمل عمليات.
كيف يعني؟
الدعس، عمليات الدعس، عمليات الطعن والاشتباك المسلح في المخيمات.
ايش اكيد هدول العمليات ترفع الراس ولفلسطين. العمليات هاي تاعت الدعس والسكاكين هاي اشي بيرفع الراس لفلسطين.
اذا بدك بطلع بستشهد عادي. انا ان شاء الله اساعد الشباب وان شاء الله اصير مقاوم.
I mean, I wonder if some of those kids were part of that invasion. Like if that's an old clip and they're all grown up and they're super hardcore by now. It's possible, but Hamas already said that every family that had somebody who died that went into Israel and raped a bunch of people is going to get $2.7 million. Where do you think that money comes from? From their industry? No. From Uncle Joe. From Angela Merkel. It's not from the people who live in these Western countries. These people are like smarter than the governments. The governments have ruined the entire Western culture. We're victims. It's like, how embarrassing is it to have this kind of government running your country? And now I know what it's like to be in Canada and to be in France and to be in England. And Uncle Joe wants to continue to give them another $100 million right after this happened? What do you think they're going to do with that money? Reminds me of a clip from a movie.
To be used for peaceful purposes. It will be used only for medical research and clean energy. It will, and will certainly never be used to attack oh boy.
It's not funny. Art imitates life. This is a sick reality we live in. So maybe, I'm not 100% sure, 6 days after this invasion, the government of Israel allowed reporters to go into one of the kibbutzes, or a couple of kibbutzes actually, and see for themselves, so they can see. And I mean, I heard one guy who had been a war correspondent to many, many wars, and he said he's never seen anything like it. The most disgusting thing he's ever seen. So one of the reporters did a walkthrough and really went room by room, house by house, videotaping and talking into his microphone, his raw emotion. And so I'm going to leave you with that video clip. And I pray we never see another event like this ever again. Shalom.
We are right now in a place called Kibbutz in southern Israel, and I came here together with the Prime Minister to show you the horrors that civilians here were going through, possibly in the last moments of their lives. This is a closed military zone right now, because Israel is right now in a war. You can hear the armored vehicle behind me passing, and just civilian homes that were broken into. People were taken alive, burnt alive, murdered, shot. It's really insane to walk here and imagine what civilians were going through. Those that didn't run away on time, those that couldn't find a place to hide, were massacred. Just imagine what the people in the living room behind me were going through as Hamas terrorists were all over this streets here and running. Just try to imagine if you would have terrorists running outside your house, and yeah, it's just crazy. It all happened a few days ago. I'm in the living room right now of a family that I don't know if they managed to make it in this kibbutz, if they managed to save their lives. But just seeing these, it was a massacre of civilians. Women were taken, raped, kidnapped. Families were shot in the head. This is what Israel is dealing here with. A massacre of civilians. It just goes to show you that Hamas is not just ISIS, it's worse than ISIS. We are here in another community called Kfar Aza, which is a few kilometers from the Gaza Strip. You can see bullet holes behind me. Now this place hits really personal to me because just a few months before this war, I actually visited a friend of mine who lives here. Thank God he's okay, but it's really insane to walk here months later and this whole place is just a war zone. It's just insane to think that in this beautiful kibbutz, this beautiful community, lives were torn apart. People went to their homes. We all consider our houses the safest place, our comfort zone, the place where we feel the safest. But in this case, it's not what happened. Behind me you can see one of the trucks that the terrorists used. and there is a lot of graphic stuff here that I will not be putting, but there's a body of a terrorist behind me. The world must know what was happening here and what took place in this beautiful community that broke apart.